with a train and railroads, they can go anywhere in the United States. So can railroads go over water?
No.
No.
Yes. No, ma'am. No, yeah.
On a bridge, maybe?
Yeah.
Okay, well, can a railroad go from one continent to another continent?
Yes, ma'am.
No.
Yeah.
A railroad's not going to go over the sea. A railroad might go over a river with a bridge, right? So a railroad can take you anywhere in the United States, maybe Canada, but it's not going to take you to like Asia, right? Okay. So I have some questions for you now that we've talked about railroads a little bit. Raise your hand and we can answer these. Can you prove that railroads benefited the growth of the nation? So America, can you prove that? That once railroads were here, that it benefited and things got better? Brylan?
Yes.
How can you prove it?
Because whenever they had the railroads, people could go all over the country and like spread all over the country.
Yes, so when the railroads spread out, people started to spread out? Yeah, that's perfect. Okay, number 2. Can you predict what might be the result of building a railroad from the Atlantic to the Pacific coast? So from one ocean to the other, can you predict what might be a result of doing that? Brylan?
It's not gonna work.
You don't think it's gonna work?
Because like if they try to build it, it would be so hard that they couldn't get all the way across because people would have to build it.
Well, people can build it, but it's just gonna be, is it gonna be expensive?
Yes.
It's gonna be very expensive to build. But we're saying that that might be a result that maybe they go into debt because it's so expensive. But if you can go from one side of the country to the other really fast, what's a good thing that's gonna happen? Traven?
Wait, no.
You lost it? It's okay, Brylan.
People might go all over the place.
People might go all over the place. All right, number 3. How did the railroads affect trade in America? Trading. So if we make clothing, but they want to buy it, or we want something that they have, selling goods and buying goods. If we have railroads, how would that affect trade? Traven, why don't you give this one a try?
I have no idea.
All right, Brylan?
Like, cause they could go all the way over really fast without like having taking forever to get the things that they need.
Are you saying that's a positive thing or a negative thing?
Positive.
A positive thing. All right, good job. All right, next one, Brylan, please stop. The next thing we're going to talk about is canals. Canals were built to improve shipping. They were built to move freight and passengers at time. Freight is something like cargo or boxes or materials. Canals and the locks they required were an expensive endeavor. After they were settled, the canals were easier and cheaper ways of transporting, but that was after they were first made. The Erie Canal was the most significant out of the first canals opened in 1825. Canal fever was the increase of the building of canals due to the Erie Canal's success. A new boat called the flatboat, you think it's flat? It says it in its name, that's pretty easy, was made for going downstream in the canal. So you'd have a flatboat and it would go downstream, but it was harder. It couldn't go upstream very well.
Oh, okay.
It could go downstream really good, couldn't go upstream very well. A disadvantage of the canals was also that they would freeze over in the wintertime because it got so cold in some places. Probably didn't get too cold in Florida though. And then if you look up here, you guys can see a canal, and those are those boats that are going to travel through the canal, going from one place to another. It makes it really easy. All right, next thing we're going to talk about is roads and wagons. People in business want to make a profit. Profit means a gain. They want to make money. When the roads are owned by people or the government, others have to pay in order to travel on them. This is something that is still used today. Have you guys ever seen that where we have to pay to be on a road?
Yes.
Kind of like the turnpike.
Wait, no. Yes.
Yeah, when you have to stop at a toll, you have to pay.
Oh,
and then they give you a ticket and you gotta keep going. Same thing, they'd had that all the way back in the 1800s. The way that people used to travel on roads was with an overland wagon. A wagon could hold a family and all their possessions. The wagon was pulled by horses. The people who built these wagons could make a profit off of them if they sold them, because I'm pretty sure not everyone knew how to build a wagon. Wagons are faster and safer than walking. It is also easier to stay on a road when traveling and not getting lost as easily, because if you're walking through the woods, that's a little bit harder than walking on a road. During the travel time with these wagons, a couple things could go wrong as well. There may be robbers lurking about to steal a family's possessions. Also, because the trips may be long, potholes and such might cause the wagon to break down, and many people would get sick on these long trips because it's going to take a long time on these trips. And when they get sick, is there a doctor nearby?
No, ma'am.
Not back in the 1800s. If they got sick, a lot of times they would die on the road. That is definitely a disadvantage. All right, now what we're going to do is our first activity today is called a Venn diagram. Have you guys seen this before?
Yes, ma'am. I learned them today.
You learned them today? What? Okay. So let's go ahead, and I want you guys to take your fingers, and we're going to draw a Venn diagram with our fingers, okay? So what kind of shape am I making?
It's two circles.
Two circles. Okay, 2 circles. And how many spots can I write in
3.
here? Traven, thanks for raising your hand.
3.
3. All right. So here's what we're going to do. I have your Venn diagrams right here. Whenever you get them, I've already wrote there before the 19th century, and this is after the 19th century. Brylan, eyes up here, please. And in the middle, you guys know that this is what's alike, right? Okay. So on this side, we're going to talk about things that were before all these new advancements, like the railroad, the canal, all these things. And then afterwards, so you can write what you have before and what you have afterward. And what's the same no matter what century you're in, if you're now or the 18th century. Are there people and families in all centuries?
Yes.
Yes, so that might be something that you can put in the middle. Were there cars before the 18th century? No. So maybe that's something that you can put before the 19th century. Okay? So when you get your paper, go ahead and put your name on it. And you guys can go ahead and get started. I'm going to walk around and I'm going to watch. And if you have any questions, then feel free to raise your hand.